Good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of the George Conversations at the Georgetown Tea House. It's Valentine. Happy Valentine to all, and of course, it being Valentine, we're gonna explore some issues related to love. Today, we want to look at what makes a love song, and beyond that, we're gonna explore, you know, there are a few phrases in the marriage vow that we want to take a look at and ask ourselves, what really do we understand about these words, about these phrases? All right. This is the Georgetown Tea House. With me at present, we have Sister Samantha and Brother Tyrone. How are you folks doing? Samantha, I'm sure our folks would love to hear your voice. They haven't heard you in a while, so say something, Samantha, anything.
Is it too late to say Happy New Year? I don't think so. So,
No.
so I guess it's Happy New Year to my Georgetown Tea House family. It's been a while. I've been on the quiet side of things, enjoying the programs nightly, and I'm happy to be here this evening.
Okay, great, great, great. And Tyrone, how are you? How are things?
Good evening, everyone, wherever you are, whatever part of the globe you find yourself. It's good to be back here at Georgetown Tea House another Monday night. And as usual, I'm in for the discussion and I'm doing fine. I'm just enjoying life, taking it one day at a time. No stress, and I'm just good.
Okay, great.
Just
All right.
just being in a reflective mood. That's just me.
Okay, folks, please like, share our broadcast, tell a family member, tell a friend, grab a cup of tea, a glass of juice, a bottle or a glass of water. You know whatever is your thing, and sit back, relax, and we're gonna have some fun tonight. All right, this is conversation at the Georgetown Tea House. We'll be back shortly. Please like and share the broadcast.
Examine any profound event in the Bible or in the history of Christianity, and one is sure to recognize the consistently pivotal role of conversational interactions. We see this at play in Genesis, the first book, where through a series of conversations we witness the fall of our species and the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. The conversation between God and man, the conversation between man and woman, the conversation between the woman and the devil, and so on. At the Georgetown Tea House, we know the great importance and pivotal role that conversations often play in our lives on this earth. And thus, we will seek to engage in the types of conversations that are insightful, stimulating, and thought-provoking. And yes, occasionally a trifle boring. Our hope is that with each visit to the tea house, we can become better aware of who we are, of our relationship with God, and where we stand with each other and the rest of humankind. And yes, through it all, there will be music. For music, it had been written, is the food of love, and God is love. Join us every Monday evening on Facebook and YouTube Live for Conversations at the Georgetown Tea House, a Gospel Side of Me production. Please, do bring along a cup of tea or a glass of your favorite juice.
Okay, Randy, nice to see
Good.
you. What's going on? What's going on?
I am good. Good to be here. Good night, everybody. So, man, it's good
Hi,
to see you,
Randy.
girlfriend. Good to see you,
Same here.
Tyrone, my boy. Yeah, I'm a bit late. I was the traffic was kind of hectic coming
That's
home,
all
so
right, man. That's all right.
yeah, I
No, no,
tried my best.
no problem there. No problem there. Samantha, I'm gonna begin with you. love song. What does a love song do to your mind, and what's your whole concept of a good love song?
Nancy, you know where I am when it comes to music. So I
Right.
don't know what is a love song because um I don't listen to music for the love aspect of it. I listen to music for two reasons. For the
Mhm.
lyrical content, if
Right.
sometimes I listen to a song and I was like, wait boy, this man is or the writer of this song is very eloquent in they're waxing poetical eloquence for me, and
Mhm.
that's good for me in terms of my existence. So I
Right.
don't necessarily say, well, oh, this is a love song, or back in the days we used to have old souls. I don't even know if they call it souls anymore. There's R&B and whatnot. So I do not know about what a good love song is. You may probably need to ask the gentleman that I listen to song for the content. Now, after
Mhm.
listening to a particular song or several lyrics of a song for a while, it
Mhm.
resonates with me in a particular way. So I may have a song that I will listen to when I'm down. I may have some songs that I listen to when I'm happy. And it doesn't really have anything to do with love. That's just the truth of it. So I don't know what constitutes a good love
A
song. I
good
don't
love song.
know.
I'm sure you're gonna shift before the night is done, because I, I can't believe there's someone so passionate as yourself. All right.
I don't know.
Tyrone, what's your concept
Music
of a
is
love
not
song?
my thing. If you ask me about a love book, I will tell you about a good one, but not a song.
Okay, good.
I don't even know where to begin in relation to love song,
Mm,
because sometimes you listen to the words of the song and you pay attention to the words. Just last Sunday, I heard one. I played some nice lovers rock and those things last
mm,
Sunday, from like Barry Salmon and some nice old soul from
right.
Anita Baker and those old school stuff.
Mm,
And I heard one song and I stopped dead in my tracks. The song says, "If loving is wrong, I don't want to be
I don't
right."
want to be right.
Yes, I don't want to be right. If being in
No.
love with a married man, or whatever it is, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I said, no, 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 no. Something not right about these lyrics here. But off the bat, it sounds great. It,
Mm,
it, it
mm,
sounds like, as Samantha says, nice lyrics and so on. But when you
right,
get down to
right.
the depth of the meaning of what is
Of
being presented,
it.
that's a different story. But I do enjoy these songs that create certain kind of emotions. They they
Emotion.
they
Okay.
they influence certain kind of emotions, and I
Right,
like
right.
I like the way that these writers and these singers, they use words that play on emotions and all the rest of it. So for me, love song is basically a song. I'm trying to make up my own definition now.
Mm,
It's basically a song with a kind of a lyrics that will impact or influence or generate certain kind of emotions
okay.
from the
Mm,
hero or the person to whom you're singing to.
right, right,
That's just
right.
my made up definition
That's all right. That's all right. All right. But we got to examine that song that you just. I don't know how you managed that. That was the first one you mentioned. It's a well written song, but of course it's controversial. And we've talked about it. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Randy, what's your take? What makes a good love song, or what does a love song do to your ears and your mind when you hear
Um, the interesting thing about me is I love music, right?
it? Mm-hmm.
I listen to various genre of music, or
Mm-hmm.
we local term we say types of music.
Right.
Um, that carries, of course, that carries good messages or that makes sense because now these days, as we'll put it,
Mm-hmm.
some people singing all sort of thing and call it songs. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, 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 right.
Um, but the funny thing about me is that the only type of songs that I will memorize as though some people would play some songs are gospels. I don't know
Mm.
why. I don't know if it's something wrong with me or my memory or whatever. But some people would hear a love song or hear a secular song, and they can sing it word for word back.
Right,
Just
right, right.
just as it. I don't have that gift, and for that
Mm.
reason, sometimes I just say, man, I really like music because I can't retain certain music and to sing. You know what I mean? Like these popular love
Okay.
song. But 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 if you're gonna ask me what
Mm.
is a good love song, or what is my interpretation of a love song, I will perhaps use maybe a Jamaican slang that was adopted by Guyanese in tune. Love songs are songs um that tickles you fancy.
Mm.
that, that's that's the slang. It tickles you fancy, and
Mm.
and to make sense of what I'm saying, like how Tyrone would have put it over, um, songs that invoke feelings of love or puts you in a mood, or songs that speaks to your emotions, that cause you to
Mm.
feel like butterflies in your chest. So man to know what I'm talking about and so on. You know what I mean? Even Sister Session, but you get the idea I'm talking about, those songs
Right,
that put
right.
you in a sort of mood. And of course it must be positive, and the song that Tyrone would have mentioned, I mean, we're gonna talk about it. It's a nice song, it's a catchy song, but apart from listening to songs, the message of the song also um,
Mm.
has a lot to do with me liking a song and listening to a song. You know what I mean? And
Okay,
and, and and those
okay.
are the things. But in a nutshell, like Taryn would have said, and in my own way, and Cleon can attest to, these are the slangs coming out to Jamaica. Love song is song that tickle your fancy.
Take your fancy. Oh, Cleon, welcome aboard. What's going on? What's going on?
But
Tell,
Nancy,
uh-huh.
before you ask Cleon his question, so before he responds, I would know, because so far we are all talking. I've heard all of the boys said that love songs about being in love and falling in love. What about the songs that talk to heartbreak upon the end of love and the feelings and these experiences? And those considered love songs as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that definitely. I mean, love, because love does include heartbreak and disappointment and so on. Cleon, help us out there. What does a love song do to your mind and mental well being? What does a love song do to you, and what makes a good love song?
I think it does put one in a place of security, put
Mm.
one in a place of comfort. It relaxes one's mind. I don't know what are the chemicals that it releases in the body of
Mm.
both the male and female. However, I'm
Mm.
not a scientist, so I can't answer those questions. But I do believe love music is of God, in my view, because God Himself is love.
Mm.
And music was one of the things that was orchestrated in the heavens, and it has that powerful um, way of impacting hearts and transforming lives. And so if you're not in a good mood and you really want to cheer yourself up, you find a
Mm.
nice Luther Vandross, or you find one of let me see, let me think, a Beres Hammond, or something that is culture but still
Mm.
love.
Mm.
Or if you are thinking of a John Legend or a Anita Baker or a Patsy Cline, and the list goes
Okay.
on of
Right.
people
Right.
that I know have great music that really does help one to get into that place. And
Right.
if we're
Right.
thinking about it on a sexual level, there are love music that can cause you to get into that mood even when you don't want to get into that mood. I see only Samantha stretch forward. So I trust that we will, because it's Valentine. So happy Valentine to everyone who's watching us and locked on. So hope there is some spark in the music after tonight's conversation.
Thank you so much, Cleon. All right, Cleon, you brought up a point that I want us to look at. Now, I was reading somewhere, and it says if a love song promotes the sanctity of marriage and or the purity of true love, even if it does not mention God or the Bible, it can still be listened to and enjoyed. Um, that person, of course, was speaking to a Christian audience. Uh, go ahead, Tyrone. What do you say to that? Do you agree with that, or do you think that the definition can actually be broader?
I agree with that because let me put it this way: anybody can take any song and do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that the writer and the singer never intended it to be. So the song that speaks of the song that promotes, as the writer said, the sanctity of marriage, and the song that promotes expression of love,
Mm-hmm.
I see no problem in one listening to those songs
Mm-hmm.
and in one incorporating those songs into their marriage experience or even the relationship experience.
Right, right.
So I think the person, whoever the writer is on point. There's another song that I heard. If I want to, I can mention it here. At
Mm-hmm.
first, it's very catchy. I can't remember who the singer is, the person sang it, but I know the words,
Uh,
that the words of the song, one line or two lines. It said, "Oh Lord, don't let me cheat on my boyfriend or girlfriend.
mm-hmm.
And if you can't stop me from cheating, don't let me get caught." To me, that's
Christopher
what.
Martin, yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Martin. To me, the words of that song is not a song for the Christian.
Not a song for the Christian.
Yes,
Okay,
because
okay.
it reduces the power of God. It reduces the power of God's grace to keep you from doing certain things.
All right, let's talk about that. Songs that we may say that isn't a good one for the Christian mind. Let's look at the Drifters. I'm going to read a few lines. This magic moment, so different and so new, was like any other until I kissed you. And then it happened. It took me by surprise. I knew that you felt it too by the look in your eyes. Sweeter than wine, softer than a summer night. Everything I want, I have whenever I hold you tight. This magic moment, while your lips are close to mine, will last forever till the end of time. Brother Randy, would you say that those kinds of lyrics is good for the Christian ear?
Yes, yes. I love oldies. I think that's an oldies. I love oldies.
Mm,
Like Tyron would have said, as long as it um speaks to the sanctity of marriage and healthy and wholesome relationship, then fine.
mm,
If it doesn't promote let me say what um something that causes you to sin, or it points you in a negative direction, or something that would, but I mean, between my wife and I mean, we're dancing at home. I'm playing that song. I'm reminiscing on the kiss we had on our wedding day. I'm talking up, you know what I mean, and I'm
mm,
telling her those sweet words. I mean,
right.
I'm just expressing my love for her, and probably invoking feelings that will that will benefit me later on, and so on. So I mean, you
Mm,
know what I mean. I mean, there once the music is wholesome, right? Remember,
mm,
we're human beings. We don't expect to be walking around listening gospel all the time. And there's
right,
some
right.
so-called gospel that promotes um negative, or it tells messages that are not in keeping with the Bible. You understand me
Right.
saying?
Okay.
But
Right.
but
Right.
but then right, but then we live in society. We made to love and all of these things and so on. So I mean, um, yeah. If like I said, if it's wholesome music, if it's music that elevates and builds the family and wholesome relationship and so on, why not? Why not? Flattery
Okay.
and expression of love is good.
Good. Good. Okay. Cleon, Randy used the phrase "sweet words." What would you classify as sweet words, and do sweet words have to be necessarily pleasant words? What's your take, Cleon?
Sweet words will be words that are palatable for one's mind. And I use the vague sense of it because what may be good for me may not necessarily be palatable for someone else. So you choose tonight, as you listen to us, what you think may be best for you. However, I disagree with Randy when he said that there's some gospel music that doesn't promote a a
Wholesome
wholesome
words.
message. As long as it is not, whether you're Christian or not, and you're singing music, and the sorry, I don't know why we stick there for a while, and the music does not demonstrate the lyrics, rather does not demonstrate the message of Jesus Christ, then it's not gospel. Even if you want to call yourself a gospel singer. So if you didn't know, now you know. Um, but sweet words will always um, bring one to that place of, I don't know if I could use the word ecstasy,
Yeah. 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 Go
or,
ahead.
or that high that people talk about. I was in a marriage seminar last night, and the sexologist was a Christian who was talking a lot of things that was absolutely amazing. I trust one day we will have him on this program. And like Randy said, you have the ability to coerce. No, coerce might sound like a more conniving way. You have the ability to speak those words that will cause your partner to come to a place of climax with you even before you have even met that place of penetration. So this is what sweet word does.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Um.
if I may jump in here,
Mhm.
I would go further in adding to what Randy and Brother
Deep,
Cleon said.
deep, deep, man.
I think sweet word also has to do with the context and circumstance. Because the sweet words that you speak today might be angry words tomorrow. depends on the Depends on
Mhm.
the context and the situation. So the word that you speak today might have a very good impact and influence. But you speak those same words tomorrow in a different context.
Right.
You might
Right.
get a
Right.
whole different reaction. So I think the words must match the context, the event, the situation.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Tyrone, Senator. Mandy Ennis is asking, is there anything wrong with soul and oldies?
Nope.
Okay,
Simple
Mandy,
and
you.
simple and straightforward. As I said before, it depends on the message that is presented in the song.
Mm,
There's a song that somebody else sang. I can't remember who the person. But the essence of the song says that my partner is far away. I'm not going to cheat on them. I'm going to wait until they return. I can't remember the name of the song or the words of
mm,
the song.
right, right,
That's a
right,
song that maybe speak to faithfulness
right,
or
right.
being
Mm-hmm.
faithful to your spouse and your partner. And then you
Okay.
have, as I mentioned, two of them, Christopher Martin and the other one, if loving is wrong, I don't
Yeah,
want to be
and
right and all the rest of it. So it is the message that is being promoted in the song that for
Mm,
me will determine if the song is appropriate for Christians. I don't use right and wrong. If it's appropriate
this is
or
appropriate.
inappropriate, yeah, inappropriate for Christians.
yeah,
Which
and
might
I
which
guess
is a different ball game when we're talking about souk and other
Mm,
stuff. That's a different.
right, right, right,
so.
right.
I just wanted to make a point quickly. I heard Cleon just now, and when I made reference to like gospel, there's this song, somewhere around the throne of God. You know the song? Is a very it she is somewhere around the throne of God. They sing at funerals and in churches and so on. Sometimes it's a nice
Mm.
song, but the message in wholesome. It in you know what I'm saying? It is not.
It is not theologically correct.
Ah, right. Thank you for those. Thank you for putting that through. So and that's what I was alluding to, and so that even further strengthens Tyrone's point in terms of the message. There's some beautiful songs. I mean, the rhythm and everything is in order. You know, it's soothing and all of these things. But it's far more than just the rhythm and all of these things. The lyrics also, they have to speak to you in copious ways, and
Mm.
also it must make sense and it must be relevant. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Right, right.
the message is very important and should be considered. And for most people, most music lovers and intelligent people and smart people, I
Mm.
think they focus a lot on the lyrics. So here's where Samantha come in, being as smart as she is. So certain song when get her, she can focus on the lyrics, this because she
Mm.
this language individual. So the lyrics will always get her. So a girl like Samantha, if you're lyrical and if you can you know what I mean, you're good with language, I think, oh wow, she love you.
All right. Let, let,
Samantha?
let, 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 let's go to
Just a
let, let,
little bit more.
let me pull out
Can't
Samantha
be picking on me tonight, boy.
and Cleon here. No, there's no picking here. There's no picking. Right? So
All we're doing is
so
drinking
Samantha
tea, girl.
so Samantha Cleon in his best baritone voice, he sings to you. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Because if being right means being without you, all right? But of course, you're not his wife, but his his words are sincere. He means what he's saying, all right? And for him, you are the embodiment of whatever he conceives of as love. Um, is that a bad way for a Christian to feel, Samantha?
Yes, it is.
Even if what he's feeling is genuine,
Yes, well,
he's telling you that if loving you is wrong, then he don't want to be right. I mean, you know,
oh gosh. Nancy, it is wrong. I mean, okay. You see, emotions is one of those things that God has entrusted us with. And
mm,
it is one of those things that usually gets us in trouble, all right? So while Cleon may have admiration for me, so that may not be the right song. So he may have admiration for me, right? It does not necessarily mean that he if he's loving me, that if he's not doing it, he's doing it wrongly because or incorrectly. Because
mm,
remember, the kind of love that I may assume he is speaking of, that he is singing in his lovely jingle tone and all of that, then it's not really for me. It can't be for me. And as such, because sometimes I am an overthinker, I really
mm,
can't accept it. And as genuine as he is, I'd be like, but why he's singing this to me? Because in the moment, right in the moment, I could spoil the moment, and I guess it's something I have to work on. I could spoil the moment because really and truly he could be genuine, but I can't hear it for what it is because
mm,
but he going home just now to sing them same things to his wife. Why he telling me this kind of thing? And so I can't hear it for what it is, and so in this case, usually intent or
mm.
motive makes the difference in
Makes a difference.
how you accept things and how you process them.
Interesting. Cleon, it doesn't look like Samantha is into swearing and get Cleon.
Not at all, because I would tell Winner and I telling all the ladies on the live. You might be agent saying any man come about you with that nonsense. He's a full-fledged dirtiness. He's a dirty man. You can't want to get your wife and want to be trying to tell somebody if loving you is wrong, then you want to be right, where you're gonna be wrong for the rest of your life.
True. If you can't hear it, you can't. It's some things you can't hear, and really process is really process. Now, I'm not gonna doubt the fact that I may find myself in a situation where the feeling might be mutual, but at some point in time, you see that little thing called common sense, it will kick in because it has a lot to do with your morals. And I guess that's not what we're discussing tonight. But your morals will come up to play at some point in time as to what are you doing? Why are you listening to this when you know that it's not genuine, while, they may purport it to be that way.
No, but it may not be correct, within the Christian context, but it can be the truth. It can be genuine, can't it, Tyrone?
Can't it, Tyrone?
The feelings can be
Tyrone,
genuine.
Tyrone,
Genuine. No. I had to unmute the mic. Genuineness doesn't mean correctness. That's my response. You can be genuine. You can
All
be
right.
as genuine as ever.
So
you can be
I-
genuinely
can I-
wrong. You can be genuinely wrong. The thing is,
well, that's true.
the thing is,
Absolutely amazing, isn't it?
the thing is, we're talking about self-control, because if the person knows that they're married, and you begin to feel attracted to somebody else, then what should come into play is your self-control. Would you allow it to get to the place where you have to sink to the person? If loving is wrong, I don't want to be right. So that means that the person would have embraced the idea. The person would have made the idea their own, and now they're basically trying to live it out. The thing is now, what if Samantha says yes?
And Samantha too is a full-fledged dirtiness.
No, but Auntie, can I ask this question?
Go ahead.
Can I ask this question? Can I use those same words to say to Samantha, who is my friend, how special she is? I mean, seeing Samantha can say, Samantha girl, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. It didn't mean I want to get to Samantha. It didn't mean I want to be with Samantha, but I'm using it in a different context, trying to express, would it be wrong for me to express to Samantha how special she is to me as my friend?
Can I respond?
Using
Go
those
ahead.
words.
Go ahead.
My brother.
Yes.
There are a million and one other ways of making Samantha be special. Why you choose that one?
What's wrong with using that one?
Wait. I'm not coming to your defense, Randy, but we're talking about words and the intent. If Randy and Samantha's relationship is on that level where they're both understand, and Samantha talk about common sense and a sense of reasoning, and if I'm saying to my friend, we know how we par, we know the words that we throw around with each other, I would dare say I do not feel there's anything wrong with it if you and the person are that type of friends that they understand, you know what, this is how this person expressed themselves. But if it is that we are not on that same level as friends, and you coming about me with that, you're a full-fledged dirtiness.
And that's why I said
back to
Cleon,
where there is
intent.
mutual understanding between both parties.
Intent. That's why I say intent. And so
Exactly.
that's why I said intent.
I'm of a different view, and my different view
and
is,
I appreciate your view, because we have been cultured in a way that if we use certain things, it is forever deemed as evil. But
So Tyrone, you're shunning the appearance of evil.
I'm not saying that.
They use what is available to them.
I'm just asking, brother.
Evil.
Are we shunning the appearance
I
of
am
evil?
not suggesting in one way shunning appearance of evil. What I'm saying is this: words have power,
Right.
and words have a way of having certain effect that it is. It
Not
is.
intended for.
I'm trying to find a way of explaining it.
Right. Words make you and they break you.
One can have a very pure motive right now.
Mm.
But the moment certain things come out of your mouth, you want to know where that pure motive went to, how it changed so quickly from one thing to the next. Our hearts are so desperately wicked, we don't even know it ourselves. So when we think we know that yes, we can or we not go past whatever it is. And I'm saying there are many other ways that special, making someone feel special, can be done.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
But to choose that one, if loving is wrong,
I don't want to
I
be
don't
right.
want. The words, if loving is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Look, Samantha is married. I am married.
It's the
We're
words.
very,
The words, Randy.
we're very good friends. And Cleon would have made a point. We're very good friends. We're on a certain level. I
Just try
mean,
a lifesaver.
we buddies, we pal, and I mean, I have female friends like that we real tight. We talk about anything and whatever, but it's not, I mean, they don't go past them level, or I don't see them in that way, and they don't see me in that way. But I appreciate them a whole lot. So I mean, knowing your situation and stuff, I say, Samantha girl, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying, Tyrone, and playing with words, but it still has to do with your motive and your intent, as
Intent.
um
Mm.
as was alluded to earlier. And I just want to pick up my friend and let you know that she is that special.
I am with you on this one, Randy. I'm with you here.
So
And I fully endorse it.
I'm
It
with
is
you
the
I'm
here.
intent of
Intent.
I'm
one.
on
Intent.
No,
I'm on the other hand.
and
I understand the intent and the motive, but I'm still on the other hand. I'm over different.
and
That's
you're
okay.
free to be on the other hand, and like I
Yes.
rightly said before, it is because of how we were
No.
cult.
No, not because of your
Tyrone,
culture.
Tyrone, if you were cultured in a
No.
different era where you would have been able to use think, because in our catchment area of people within the Caribbean, we would not
Mm.
do that. But you may go into a different
Mhm.
culture and they could use the same things, and people are not thinking about it in that way. Does it make
I
it wrong for them? No, it
you
is
don't
just
listen to
because
me.
our minds of our your
Mhm.
mind has already been trained, your mind has
Mhm.
already been developed in such a way that you don't say these things to people because we know they're going to be thinking differently. I can't stop
No.
again.
Okay,
Wait,
okay. Let's
here's
leave it
where
at
I'm
that.
going. Here's where I'm going. While my intention is pure, my friend hearing these words, and this
Mm.
is where I agree with you to some extent. My friends hearing those words may be thinking, oh, if loving me is wrong, you really don't want to be right. Then if my friend comes over to me in that kind of way, I say, sweet girl, that's not the intent of how we were having this conversation. Don't get into being a
Clarifying.
full-bloodedness.
Clarifying things.
You understand? But I do believe
Mhm.
it can be weighed, because it is how you view these words and how you put
Mhm.
meaning to it is what makes it either wrong or right.
All right. So not to carry the conversation very far off from where we are. So
Mm.
culturally, as Cleon was alluding to, um, here in Trinidad, where I am, a normal thing to say, like for instance, in church, there's this lady that I love, and so she will always say, "Lover, how you doing today?" That's a normal thing, right? There,
Mm.
there's this elder in my church, a male elder, who says, "Darling, how was your week?" And at first, those were things that caught me off guard. But then by the time I became immersed
Darling,
in the culture, not that I was shocked, nor did
that's
I
my
see
girlfriend.
untoward intentions in it, because it was said in the presence of other people. So it wasn't malicious
Mm.
or anything. But as I
Right, right.
became immersed in the culture, I understand. I will walk up to my students and I will say, darling, how you doing today? Love or what you're doing. These are very normal concepts. So me
Mhm.
running back home to our Guyanese culture, I said that to a friend. So I was at a friend's workplace and I was
Mhm.
leaving and I said, well, lover, we will catch up later.
Right.
And I heard all of the little songs going off in the space because there were other people there. And then I had to check myself because I realized that I'm in a culturally different place. So to say that back home in Ghana, it meant something totally different. And really and truly, the individual is just my friend. But culturally here in Trinidad, to say love and to say darling to somebody, they are normal things that you say in conversation to people who are endearing to you, and you don't have any emotional or romantic connection to those people. So that was just
Because
kind of
because they clearly said that's my girlfriend and that's my
Yes,
boyfriend
yes, Samantha, I agree with you. And
without any sexual connotation to it.
yeah.
right, and in addition to that, um, it all depends on the person's personality also. You understand me? For me, if a young lady says to me, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. The kind of person I am, I would say, yeah, I'm that lovable, eh? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got take the compliment, but I got let you, yeah, I'm that lovable. You know what I mean? You understand me? But I am mean nothing. I don't read much into it. You understand what I'm saying? Because I'm in already, you know what I mean, a married man and all these things. I wouldn't read much into it. So I will basically take it like that for me. Oh, I'm lovable, eh?
Mm.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? And yeah. I know a sweet things like that you hear coming out of my mouth. If you want to tell me how nice and how handsome I be, yeah, I just work hard to keep this up, and all of these things. I that's me, that's my personality, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Some people now, some people when you say something to them, it's a culture shock. They are frozen, they don't know how to respond to it because perhaps they never expected something like that. You know what I mean? I've met persons
Mm.
like that. You really have to be careful with the kind of words that you use around them because they take it to heart. That's the kind of person they are. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And they read more into things than is that is actually there. You know what I'm saying? So we have to take these things into consideration. And yes, I hear Tyron's point. And for that simple reason, um we need to be cognizant about the words we use and to who we use them and so on. But I mean, I am just kind of different because look at this phrase. For instance, this, and you might say wrong. I just call my wife by her full name. Her name is Sabrina. I will sometimes say Stabby for short. But
Mm.
I would say Samantha, how you doing, babes? How you doing, hon? But I don't really refer to my wife like that. I will call her Stabby, Sabrina for
There's
short.
there's another
And
conversation there already.
people would want to say I should be calling
You
her babes and
calling
hon.
other
And
people on and biz and don't call your wife that.
Randy, there's a
You want
whole other
blackmail.
conversation there, Randy.
you see, I am just
You
you
borderline in
know
on full-fledged dirtiness.
you, you see what I'm saying, but it's
clear,
just
clear,
me. It's
clear.
just
Randy putting himself
and
in
it's
trouble there, man. This,
no,
this, this
I'm
big,
putting
big
myself.
trouble.
That's how I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a
I
problem saying
understand,
babes
Randy.
and hon and all of these things, but it's just me. Until one
Right,
time, I
right.
mean, my one of my very good friends was in college, and she knows my wife, and I will, when I'm going home, I'll give her a lift home. I'll go and pick up my wife, and we'll go home together and these things. And so, I left her at UG, and I went to pick up my wife. And I said, when I'm passing up back, I'm going to pick you up and then we're going to go. So while I was waiting on my wife, she texted me and she said, was asking me where I am and so on. So I said, man, I text back, I come in there, babes. And my wife saw it and she was like, is you texting? And I told her who it was. And then she was like, you never refer to me as babes, you know? And
All
I
right.
was
You're
like,
waking up and
I've got
choosing
a question.
violence, Randy. You're
I've
no,
got
choosing
a
let me
question for
finish.
violence.
Samantha there. Samantha, how would you respond as a wife in that
who
situation?
who me? How I would respond? Um,
Yeah.
this
You know,
this
your husband don't refer to you as babes, and you see referring to some other
I
female
I
friend.
will be perplexed. That's the kind of thing that will throw me off. I will start to
And I
ask a
can
million
understand.
questions.
And I
Yeah,
can
I will ask a
understand. I can
million
understand.
questions, right? I will be like, but why am I not receiving the endearing end of you? But you are quite comfortable with sharing that with someone else.
Come on,
And I will start to check myself, and
yeah,
you're kind of looking for a stormy ride home, Randy. I
yeah,
just
No, you
yeah.
see, yeah,
We're gonna bring
no,
that up
and
in
I get
another conversation.
no, and I get that because I would call my mother full name and I call my grandmother mommy. You understand what I'm saying? It's things that happen, but it has no meaning. It's not that I appreciate my friend more than my wife and all of these things. You understand what I'm saying? And so coming back to the whole the whole thing, the intent, the situation and all
Take the
of
hint,
these
Randy.
things,
Take the hint.
your motive. Yeah, I can quit while ahead, buddy. I, I got I can drink some juice and mind my
Yeah,
own
yeah,
business.
yeah. Drink
Yeah,
some.
Drink
you're
water.
choosing, you're waking up and choosing violence, friend.
But I think my wife understands me by now, you know,
No, no. Well, the
and she
only
knew
way
the
we know
relation.
that,
She
no, we
knew the young
gotta.
lady, and
Take the
yeah,
hint,
and
Randy.
she knew the relationship and thing. But then if you see me on the program next Wednesday, not Monday, must know that she truly understands. That's the thing. She just be looking at the program.
Pay attention to the hint.
Adjust that, friend. Adjust that.
But
Mhm.
clear. Randy says that his wife understands. But we will only know that if his wife actually visits the Georgetown House and tell us that, right, Clear?
Absolutely. It's better from the horse's mouth because we
She
will
looks at
try
it.
to be your defense. However, we are not necessarily there in the present moment. However, Sav, we thank you for allowing Randy to be on tonight's program. Hopefully, we see him next week again.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to
My goodness.
seeing Randy. All right, we're gonna move on. Time is going. We're gonna move on to the second part of our conversation, and we want to look at the marriage, a particular section of the marriage vow. And sometimes we say things, sometimes we pledge things, and but do we really consider or think about what we're saying and what we're talking and what we're pledging? Before we go to the vows, let's go back to small days. Um, Tyrone, you have a when you're playing catch and thing, and we saying no abner babner ladies knee ocean potion sugar. Yeah. You ever try to figure what we really saying there? What it means?
It's just a guess. I don't know what it means, but I mean, it's just to guess and find some. I
Clear,
never,
clear. You ever figure what it meant?
I never found out what it means. All the rest of it. It just
Now that you're actually saying it, I am not sure if we were actually making spiritual ties with unknown spirits,
Oh,
if I want to push it that far, because literally these are and I'm not trying to demonize it in any kind of a way, but I do think some of these things we would have just been thrown upon us as children, and so we just went along with it because we did not see any danger, any harm. Not that I'm saying there's danger or harm has
Mm,
been done from it
mm.
until further studies would have revealed such.
Right. All right. For richer, for poorer. What does that phrase mean to you, Samantha? How would you have interpreted that phrase? For richer, for poorer. You're
Yeah,
right.
it's the part of the wedding vow that tells you where your commitment will lie as long as you decide now that you have decided to spend the rest of your life with the individual before you. And it 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 meant for me, and I think our counselor, whoever counseled us for wedding counseling, made us do an analysis of every line of the wedding vow.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had pulled that up because I think I may still have it. You had to write what you think it meant and how you felt about it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it is the part in the it's the part in the wedding vow that evokes some kind of emotion. And it really is one of those situational clause, I will call it. It's a situational clause in that today, on this day of leading up to our wedding, I am so in love with you and nothing, or I have so much appreciation for you that I'm willing to go with you for richer or for poor. So whether we are rich today and we become poor later down, I'm sticking with you. Or vice
Mm-hmm.
versa. We are poor today, and somewhere along the line, we acquire some help, some wealth. We are, you acquire some wealth, you are going forward. We are going to stick to each other even with all of the other bad habits, right? So these are the unwritten lines in between there. Whether you're upsetting me, annoying me, if you're not putting down the toilet seat, that kind of thing. So it is
Mm-hmm.
the part of the wedding vows that has a lot to do with your commitment to the person with whom you are going to start, you're going to leave and cleave with.
Okay.
That's what that meant to me. It was like the commitment, because all of the other parts are important, but when it hits there, it says to you, like, listen, you are in this for the long haul. It does not matter what happens. You are in this for the long haul.
Tyrone, from looking at life, you know, um, looking back at our collective experiences, you individually and our collective experiences. Um, do you think that that particular phrase is a little too weighty, or is it attainable?
There are a number of things I can say about that phrase, but the first question I ask myself is that phrase biblical?
Mm-hmm.
I remember I read a book called The Sins of the Father. It's a Christian book where this father was a minister of the gospel, but he was a molester. He molested his son, and when you check down the line, his grandfather molested him and his cousins and his siblings. Then his great grandfather. So it was something that was handed down. And the wife went to the church and she brought the situation of the church, and the church reminded her of the vow for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse. And she said to them, "That's not biblical. You
Mm-hmm.
don't find that vow in the Bible. That was a man-made vow." So in other words, they were trying to defend the molester, and they were trying to get the woman to remain even in such a condition. So I asked myself the question, and I looked. I didn't find any. So I stand corrected if there's any part of the biblical marriage or the Bible that says for better or for worse.
Okay.
Then can somebody point it to me?
Randy, is Brother
Um,
Tyrone correct? Is there anywhere in the Bible that reflects that sentiment?
I haven't seen it, and I agree with him. However, I will put it this way. I believe that is something that was made up and thrown in by perhaps counselors or marriage officers or those who associate with love and marriages. As you see, like in your organization, we have rules and regulations that helps to guide an individual, right? And so I believe those are unwritten rules that helps to guide an individual. Is that, look, if I take this vow before God, I'm pledging to be there, not to bail on you. You understand me? For richer, for poor. It might not be biblical, but it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. It's I mean, it has some merit in it. All right, as in terms of how a relationship should be. You were saying to your partner, look, I'm not gonna bail on you for richer, for poorer, in good times, in bad times. However, there are also situations in the Bible that 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 tells you when you can bail. You understand me? And as long as you don't cross those lines, then you're expected not to bail. I usually say this. I don't believe in divorce, so to speak, or I tell myself I would not get married to get divorced. You understand
Mm.
me? And I wouldn't want to say anything because my wife might be looking at this thing, but I'm just let's put it that way, right? And and I still got to sleep and so on. Anyhow, but 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 I will say things like this. I will tell people I am not going to work around infidelity. You
Mm.
understand? And that's a whole different ball game to get the people to try to convince you because I usually say, look, if we marry for 40 years and you cheat on me, that's it. I ain't working around it. I can't live with that. I can't deal with that. You understand what I'm saying? People can people Tyrone listen to me, I understand. I know it's gonna invoke a conversation, but people that say people that say, man, oh, after all the children and spending time is more easier said than done and blah blah blah. Not me. I'm
Mm.
telling you. I just say I would say to my wife and I would say, look, you lose your teeth, I can walk around though. You lose your one hand, your one foot, I can walk around though. Your face burn up and your face get cut up or whatever, I can work around that because guess what? I can jump in my car and drive out the road and meet in an accident and I lose my teeth and I lose my one hand. I can expect you to love me,
Mm.
right? So if that happens to you, somehow you lose your teeth or whatever, or you lose your one hand, or perhaps you develop a disease and you have to lose your breast and something, God forbid, I can work around that. You understand me? But this infidelity idea,
Not
but my
infidelity.
yeah, yeah, but my idea or horn in Trinidad, Samantha, or blow in Jamaica, Cleon, I ain't walking around it. So my idea or in my mind when we talk about better for worse is I'm saying to you, look, I'm not gonna bail on you. When things are good, I love you when things are good. You know, when we go through a rough path, perhaps you would have gone into some business and you lose all the family money. So we poor. I'm
Mm.
still there rocking with you. You understand me? Or you might have gotten two kids and the sea line and so on, bloat you up and what's not and what's not. You know what I mean? You change from the girl I fell in love with, this sexy body and all of these things and so on. So I'm still there. You know what I mean? And it's not that I'm accepting how you might have come, but I love you for you, but I'm still going to encourage you, man. You know, you need to get back and try to shred the weight and so on and so on. And that's a different story
Mm.
altogether. But it's not
Yeah.
about bailing on this person, except for this horn thing and so on. I can't work on that. I can't live with the Tyrone. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
convince me otherwise.
that's another conversation,
May
there,
I say
Randy.
something, please? Because
We can tap into
Mm-hmm.
that one.
may I say
Cleon,
Yeah.
something?
yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Tyrone.
because I
I'll
mean,
go.
I wasn't finished answering, responding to the question that you asked in terms of for better or worse. I like to look at things from a wider perspective.
Mm.
For better or worse, richer or poorer, poorer in character, poorer in lifestyle, poorer in mentality. Things get worse and so on. That's how wide I'm looking at that vow, that part of the vow.
Mm.
All right. Worse. Somebody can get as worse as becoming an abuser
Mm.
in such a way that life is threatened. Are we gonna stick around? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And unlike Randy, when Christ spoke about reasons for divorce, I believe Christ was merely targeting forgiveness more than he was targeting divorce. Christ was basically saying, look, the way I have forgiven you, be prepared to forgive. It's a hard place to be. It's a tough thing to think about. Forgiving somebody who cheated on you. But I did that presentation. I believe that forgiveness is a mentality, is an attitude, it's a lifestyle. It's something we have to be prepared. That's one part of the vow that I think all marriage couple should understand. That once you're in marriage, for it to work, you must be prepared to forgive. And
All right.
forgiveness, let me just say this quickly, forgiveness does not encourage abuse. Forgiveness does not embrace abuse. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful things God has given to us as human beings. But because we have misunderstood God's way of forgiveness and all the rest of it, we think forgiveness is basically a weak thing and it encourages you to stay in abuse and you stay. No, 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 no. From what I've studied, forgiveness is powerful. And so, for better or for worse,
Mm.
love would say to me,
Oh,
seek
Chopo.
seek the better for the person. If the person is degrading in terms of mentality, in terms of behavior, seek help. Before you bail, seek help.
All right.
And Christ makes it clear. Christ makes it clear. Christ says if the person doesn't want to change, you have gone through all the process, and the
Mm.
person doesn't want to change, let the person be to you as a Eden.
Okay.
So there's
Yeah.
a process involved,
I
for
Okay.
agree
I'm
with you,
better
with
or for
you.
Tyrone.
worse.
I'm
I
with
agree
you.
with you, Tyrone. I see your point, but bro, to me that's the unpardonable.
All right.
Only, not the strong, last thing, only a converted mind can do the forgiveness that Christ really asked us to do.
This is
We
absolutely.
we 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 gonna delve in. We gonna delve into that cheating thing. Randy, make sure
Mm-hmm.
you're on next Monday.
Yeah.
Cleon, you want to respond to Chopo's comment?
Just for better or worse, is a sickness in health, or your poor is a statement to confirm of contentment. I do believe, and good night to Chow Pao for being on the tea house tonight. I do believe it is a matter of contentment. I was doing a little bit background research, checking to see if there's anywhere in scripture, but the theologians would allude that the scenario with Ruth and Naomi is one of the ways where they would have coined that phrase, but to say that you can find literally the words for rich or for poor in the Bible, absolutely not. Unless, and I will say subject to correction until somebody finds something else. But I do believe when you say for rich or for poor, it is a matter of contentment, because you can have all the wealth in the world and people will still not be happy. You can have nothing and people may still not be happy. And when they get everything, they still not be happy. And they can have nothing and still be happy. And when they get more than what they would have had, they become disgruntled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I do believe it is a matter of contentment of the heart and not a means of trying to prove a point to someone else. But I do believe um, one who has come to a place of truly exemplifying the grace and the character of Jesus Christ will forgive someone who has even been unfaithful in their marriage vows, because it is no greater sin than any other sin that anyone would have ever committed. Therefore, I therefore say this, therefore, like being redundant, therefore, um, that you have got to find that place in your heart to know that if God could forgive you of your trespasses, why can't you not forgive the person theirs? So this may be a thin line that allows several people to probably end up in hell because they choose not to forgive the person because they feel that they have been wronged. And men on the whole don't like to um, be seen as, oh, that man chop your woman, or that man will beat out your woman. In the colloquial terms that we know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
It drives whether you're Christian or Christian not, it drives something in the mind of the man. What was the person actually saying when this was happening? That probably never even happened with me. So those are some of the things I think that grabbles the person's heart, that makes them say, no, I can't forgive you. Because I don't know if when I take you back and me and you sleeping, you might be thinking is John, and my name is no John.
Quickly, if I can just
But
say
you have
something
to learn to
quickly.
forgive.
Quickly, yes, of course, but learn, but me forgiving doesn't mean you don't have to suffer the consequences. Forgiveness does. Tyrone would agree. We talk about this. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you wouldn't have to suffer the consequences. And for me, in that situation, the consequences, brother, sorry, Tyrone, you got to go. On
All
pardon
right.
every partner.
He's a
I'll
real
forgive.
GP man.
I'll
If you
Has
mess
he
up,
already picked his hill
if
that
you,
he's dying on, and he's not
it's
giving
like
it
if
up?
you slip up,
That's
it's
the
throwing the
opening.
Samantha,
water to
That's
the
op-
Samantha, I sitting on my limb and I going overboard on the same limb. I'm
I
you
sorry.
see, you see that's the opening. That will be the opening line of Randy's breakup song. You got to go.
Got to go.
Baby,
Right?
use like a smooth ship sailing
I'll
on the
forgive you.
ocean.
I'll forgive you. Yes, I'll forgive you. But the consequence is still there. I'll forgive you.
Mm. All right. Yeah. So I think that's a good way to close off. We definitely will look at that whole issue, the angle that Tyrone is coming from in terms of forgiveness, and that if you are a true Christian in your heart, you will find the means to forgive. And where Randy's coming from, where we all have our our lines in the sand that we all draw. And for Randy, it's infidelity. Um, Maybe if Tyrone or Cleon really think hard, they might have something that they say no, I can't forgive that. While Randy may be able to forgive, what Tyrone is saying, no, that there's nothing that he essentially would be cool with anything. We gonna test that, all right? But we want to look at the whole issue of forgiveness and infidelity and the things that we're in a relationship, especially in a loving relationship, we can't we can't tolerate. Now, Tyrone, let me ask you this to close. Don't you think, maybe let's say in Randy's case, that you can love so much and so strongly that it is because you love so much and so strongly that it's impossible to forgive infidelity?
There is no love without forgiveness. Forgiveness is an
Mm.
integral part of love. It is a very important aspect of love, forgiveness. And I have recognized that the very things that we want God to forgive us of, the very things that we are not prepared to forgive others of. And
And the issue.
I'm speaking from I've been there, from speaking from experience, I'm speaking from observation.
Mm-hmm.
As I said earlier, I'll make the statement again. It is only an unconverted mind who thinks that way. Let me give an example quickly that I could quickly. It was an unconverted mind that asked Christ about quantity, 70 times 7. Peter was in a state of he wasn't converted as yet. How do I know that? Check Matthew 18. Christ told them, you have to be converted to do this. And when Christ said to them, if your brother sins 7 times against you, and in a day, 7 times in a day, asking forgiveness, you know what the disciple said? Father, increase our faith. In other words, we cannot forgive like that unless we have that type of faith. And what Christ said to them is, look, all you need to have is faith like a grain of a mustard seed. And you will say to the sycamore tree, be uprooted. That's the tree of unforgiveness. Be uprooted. So I'm saying that type of forgiveness God asking us to do, or God commanding us to do, it takes faith and it takes a converted mind to get to that place.
Okay. Respond to
Let me just
Chow Pao quickly, Tyrone.
Was it?
this is why Jesus should have been married.
Chow Pao was saying, see, this is why Jesus should have been married. We may have been able to follow his way in terms of being a husband and father.
Let
That's
me
the
put it
one
this
thing
way.
Jesus never experienced. Blow.
God, what Christ experienced is worse than what we're talking about. It is 10 times worse than what we're talking about.
Agree.
It is 10
Yeah,
times worse.
and that
Okay, let me put it this
yeah
way. Okay, put it this way. Put it this way. The one who created us for his glory
suffer the most.
now has to come and suffer to bring us back into a relationship with our creator. That is worse than just somebody cheating on you. That's 100 times worse. I made you, I created you, I fashioned you, I gave you this life, eternal life, and you turn your back on me. You're withdrawing from my love. You're running away from my love. You go after other gods. And this is where it comes to spiritual adultery. So Christ may not have experienced the physical adultery that we're talking about, but there is the spiritual adultery which is worse. Christ says, I
All right,
made you, I married to you. I came to make you my bride, but you go after other husbands. That is
let
worse.
me
Spiritual adultery,
yeah
that's worse than physical adultery that we're talking about.
let me just close off by saying, now this will be my final statement before you close. The issue with me in the aspect is not about forgiveness, and let's look at it this way. I I can forgive. I would forgive you. I'm not a kind of person that will bear and hold malice against you, but it doesn't mean that I have to remain in a relationship with you. It doesn't mean that I can love you enough to let you go. Because sometimes knowing that me taking you back, I may end up treating you different. I may end up seeing you a little bit different. Even though I forgive you, I want to see the best in you. I forgive you, but that in my you understand? I mean, I'm only human, right? So in my love for you, Tyron, I'd let you go. We're still friends. We're still co-parenting.
I, I,
We
I,
still
I love that. I love that.
we still talk and
Love you enough to let you go.
you know.
Samantha and Cleon, I will let you guys close off on responding to that note. I mean, that you know that's some heavy reading. Won't you say
I
so, Samantha? Love
I
him
think
enough to let you go.
I think that sums up for me. All of this thing we're talking about spirituality and what God has bestowed upon us, that's what that means for me, because God loves us enough to give us the opportunity to make the choices that we make. So whether you choose um to not love him the way he require us to do, he loves us enough that he stays there to petition on our behalf and to restore us into his image. As Tyron said, that when we committed spiritual adultery and we turned for other husbands, in sin that way. I think that sums up the way Christ feels. I love you enough that even when you make those mistakes, I am still here giving you a chance to be reconciled. And that's why it says that God loves the sinner, but he hates the sin. And I agree with you, Randy. You see, forgiveness for me has nothing to do with the other person.
Yeah.
Forgiveness for me has to do about me. It has a lot to do about me and my relationship and everything else to go along with you. So when I forgive you, it's about me finding the place in my heart to say what you did no longer hurts me to the point that I can't see you as a person. And I have forgiven you, right? And I love you. And I love you enough to let you go.
Go.
Cleon, close us
Amen.
out, Cleon. Let me respond to that whole thing. Love you enough to that concept. Love you enough to let you go.
I think sometimes for the piece of one's mental health and their stability, that it is best that persons do go their separate ways. But if they're going to go their separate ways with the understanding of this bottled up anger and resentment and bitterness and jealousy and rage and contentment for the individual, then they have not forgiven. They have not forgiven. Because I like I say on this program, I'm not a psychologist by no means of any profession. But there are some people who cannot continue to thrive with the trauma that they would have experienced of knowing that this happened. And because of living in the same space with the individual, it would further trigger them to even become violent or do things that they themselves would not have wanted to do to this individual because of how hurt they are. And if they have come to a place of realization, you know what, I don't want to do these things, I have forgiven you, you live by yourself, you continue your life. When I see you like, hi, how is everything? Are you doing fine? No problem. Not with any shades or anything like that. But sometimes we have persons who would, and I think Miriam was on the program a few months back, when they were talking about people who are in abusive relationships, and sometimes people tell them to stay because they deem that this is what it should be. And I think that any form of infidelity also can be considered as spousal abuse, in my view, subject to correction. And if you feel this is what is going to work for you in terms of being separated from the individual without any anger or bitterness or any of those things that will separate you from God, I would dare say to you, for the peace of the human race and the sanity of mankind, forgive that person, just let them go. Don't hold them in your heart and have them there and allow that person to suffer the consequences of what they would have done because you have chosen, you're going to stay with me. But you, I gonna make certain that I grind you back to the dust like a real dog. That ain't gonna do you no good. That ain't gonna do the person any good. And worse yet, if we don't have children, we're not gonna have some real stray puppy.
All right. That's a good note to close off. Thank you, folks, for joining us this evening. Thank you for your comment. Please do continue to like and share the broadcast even after we would have closed off. Do tell a friend, do tell a family member. There's always a good conversation, always a great conversation at the Georgetown Tea House. And next week we will be looking at the issue of infidelity and forgiveness. So grab your notes. Come with your stories. We all as adults would have had some very interesting stories to tell about that. Some of us have some experiences that we can draw on. All right. So next week it's infidelity and forgiveness. And thank you all. Thank you, Tyrone, Samantha, Randy, Cleon. Thanks for joining us, and we're out.
Examine any profound event in the Bible or in the history of Christianity, and one is sure to recognize the consistently pivotal role of conversational interactions. We see this at play in Genesis, the first book, where through a series of conversations we witness the fall of our species and the expulsion from the Garden of Eden. The conversation between God and man, the conversation between man and woman, the conversation between the woman and the devil, and so on. At the Georgetown Tea House, we know the great importance and pivotal role that conversations often play in our lives on this earth. And thus, we will seek to engage in the types of conversations that are insightful, stimulating, and thought-provoking. And yes, occasionally a trifle boring. Our hope is that with each visit to the tea house, we can become better aware of who we are, of our relationship with God, and where we stand with each other and the rest of humankind. And yes, through it all, there will be music. For music, it had been written, is the food of love, and God is love. Join us every Monday evening on Facebook and YouTube Live for